now was arrested by the DSS a couple of weeks ago, and he's been in custody for quite a while now. There have been quite a few protests, both online and in real life, of people protesting for his release. And last week, he was granted bail by the courts under the judgment of Justice Taiwo. And it would seem that the DSS still have their reasons for detaining Omoyele Sowore. Sega Links, as you're popularly known, why is that? Where did that name come from? Where does the name Sega Links come from?
Sega is the abbreviation of my names, Segun Awosanya, and Link is based on my network and my influence.
Interesting. And you're quite the advocate, it would seem. Everyone has been asking about this situation, and it seems that there are many layers and so many nuances to the entire situation going on right now. What are your thoughts on what's happening currently?
Well, basically, without complicating matters with legal terminologies and the rest, it's a simple case of a government believed that a crime has been committed against their administration. They deemed or misrepresented or misinterpreted the action of citizens to demand accountability from their government as a political or belligerent means of upturning government. That's exactly how they saw it. They went to the court with this. They demanded from the court that they wanted to keep Sowore for 45 days. The court granted this. And now they revisited the case, and the court is saying they are releasing this guy on bail. And then the same administration, the same government that ought to obey court orders are now disobeying court orders because it does not favor their interests. So the question now is, do you cherry pick the kind of law that you respect, you obey? Is the judiciary an arm of government or a ministry under this administration? So that's precisely what we're looking at. Where exactly is the rule of law here?
What does the refusal of the DSS to release Mr. Sowore, how does that play out for the government? How does it look for the president and the government right now?
It actually doesn't look well. The optics are very terrible, are very bad, and it doesn't portray them as what they claim to be. We have our presidents go to places like the United Nations to say that they are upholders of the rule of law and they are concerned about the youth and there are programs that will elevate people from poverty and the rest of them. And then back at home, a different situation is playing out. And what different situation are we looking at here? We're looking at a situation where there's a total disconnect between the government and the people they claim to serve. There's a total disconnect between the government and the rule of law. There's a total disconnect between the government and the things that they proclaim that they are doing and the things they ought to be doing. So precisely how does not respecting the rule of law play into you promoting the youth, play into promoting the progress of a nation?
But this is not the first time the presidency or security agencies will disobey or refuse a court order. Do you not feel like Nigerians at large are also kind of complicit in this?
Yes, I believe the power belongs to the people. Since we are borrowed from the Greek democracy, we must be able to live by it. And what that means is that power belongs to the people, and until the people say enough is enough, what we allow will continue. And it is time for us to send a strong message that the government, that Nigeria is a democracy and not a fiefdom. So, and based on that, people must continue to demand accountability from their government. They must continue to demand government to adhere by the rule of law, because Nigeria is a democracy. We're not under any tyranny of any sort. And the judiciary themselves, the Nigerian Bar Association, should not sit back on this, should not plead defeat on this. They must rise up, because the judiciary is an arm of government. It is not a ministry. that is subject to the whims and caprices of any president.
Some people are saying that Sowore has lost some credibility since joining politics. Would you agree with that school of thoughts?
In what school, in what textbook, in what decree, in what template or rule, or political rule, or citizenship rule, would we say that once you have contested an election, it has robbed you of your citizenry? He is still a citizen of Nigeria. He's an active citizen of Nigeria. Whether he ran for election, whether he did not, it does not rob him of his citizenry and his freedom. His constitutionally backed freedom to express himself, to call for whatever, freedom of association, to call for protest, to do anything. It doesn't rob you of that. This concept of the identity politics of hate and populism that is being channeled out, that is being used to brainwash Nigerian youth, must be jettisoned. The fact that you ran for election does not tarnish your image or does not rob you of your rights as a citizen. You understand? So they've made it look, they've criminalized wealth. Now every youth that is well off is seen as a criminal. Now every youth that is into politics is seen as corrupt because they know themselves that the kind of politics that they are playing, before you can get involved, you must first be corrupt. And Sowore has not changed his persona since he has joined politics. He is not playing politics like everybody else.
So why, in your opinion, do you think that the government has refused to release Sowore?
All the things that they've been talking about, if they are lawful, there would not be ground to grant Sowore a bail. Because the rules are there. Our laws are clear. Whatever it is that has been spelled out, but Nigeria is not a forest. It's not a jungle. You know, it's a place where it's a republic that is ruled by law. And the laws are explicit. Law on terrorism is there. Law on crime is there. Criminal laws are there. You cannot tell me that it's the same government that rewards bandits, the same government that dialogues with terrorists that have been known globally, the same government that gives money to people that we know have killed people in our society, are now seeing freedom of speech as hate speeches. They are not seeing freedom of speech as a means to clamp down on the citizen's voice with under flimsy excuses that are not written under any law.
Apart from the revolution now, hashtag revolution now, do you think that there are other things that the government may have against Sowore? Because that seems to be one of the biggest things that have been lodged against him.
If the government have anything against anybody, present it before the court. Simple. You have presented the first set of things. You have 45 days to do your investigation, to present everything. You failed to do that. Now that the court has granted him bail, let him go home. You already have his passport. You have his credentials. If there's any need to call him to come and answer for anything, you have a basis to do that. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be, there is no need for belligerence. These things are not personal. But again, from the way we have looked at it, national security has taken back seat, while regime security has taken front seat, to the point where all our institutions, security institutions, have been so balkanized that they don't work for Nigerians, they don't work for Nigeria, they are not constitutionally aligned, they are only aligned to the people who appointed them into office.
Thank you.
And they obey only that, regardless of what happens.
Thank you so much, Sega Links, for coming to the show.
Thank you.
I hope that we do see you again, and hopefully if there's anything else that unfolds in the coming weeks, we will definitely have you back here.
Thank you
to discuss this. Thank you again so much. Nigeria, we are waiting. We hope that the government is listening, and we hope that Sowore gets justice. Justice is served. He's released soon. Thank you so much for joining the show. It's been another great episode. We look forward to having you again next week. My name is Latasha Ngwube, signing out for Rubbing Minds. Have a great week.